Hello YouTubers, this is a noobifier. So that I can have a broader experience to base my opinion from, I test as many pieces of simulation gear as possible. Recommendations here aren't just based on what you can read or see on the internet. Cammus in general has always impressed me with their stripped down, cost-effective approach. Their first product overperformed against other bases that were as much as double the price. Cammus then set their sights on the basic entry level with the totally unique C5. The C5 is that direct drive wheel with performance and price basically that invalidated some legacy favorites. The C5 proved to be a great entry wheel with only a couple limitations, so let's see if the new C12 is able to deliver. Normally you have three basic parts: a wheelbase where the motor is, a wheel, and those are attached together with some kind of quick release. Here with the C12 and the C5, the motor is the wheel, like they're stuck together. And this saves space, which is less important than the other benefit, which is to save money. Drifting is one of those sim activities that can strain even the best to the point of overheating. So I will say, to begin with, the C-Series wheels have an unusual but effective thermal management solution. A small fan built into the base that just blows air on the back of the motor. Sounds really simplistic, but it works. The fan is always spinning when the unit is powered on, and the fan ramps up when you start to use the wheel. After a short time of being idle, the fan spools down, but again, it never completely shuts off. Is it audible? Yeah, you can totally hear it. The fan and its signature white noise can be heard and becomes quite a bit more noticeable under load. I suppose that you can simply not install the fan. I would rather have a little bit of fan noise than a unit that fails because it overheated. Cammus is still officially PC only. There are ways being reported on Reddit to how to brute force Cammus to work on consoles. I didn't test any of these workarounds, and my personal recommendation is that if you want something that works with console, then go invest in something that's designed specifically for that. Don't take the risk. Arriving in a boxed, prettier display box, thick foam protects the wheel. The wheel is shockingly heavy because, remember, it's all of the parts together. They include a power brick and a USB cable. They include a pair of metal mounting arms and some bolts to attach it. It's important to note that you do need parts of a desk mounting kit, which is sold separately. I was lucky to have a C5 here, so I was able to scavenge the parts from it to test the C12 when it arrived. The desk mount holds the fan in place and applies a little bit of tilt adjustment. The rear of the unit has a momentary power button, a small reset button, a USB Type-B port to connect to the PC, a pair of Type-C ports that can be used to attach your extras, and there's a power port and a small port to connect the fan. On the C12, the entire rear is cast with fins like a heatsink. This extra surface area no doubt works, as I did briefly test it fanless, and the rear did become warmer to the touch. But with the fan installed, this feeling of heat never rose much above ambient, which is great and proves that the thermal solution is effective. Moving to the front, you have a beautifully stitched R325 wheel, chunky and smooth, without bumps that you sometimes get for your fingers, round without any flatness on the bottom, which is a correct choice as the wheel is meant to be fixed permanently. But there's a massive feature here with the C12 over the C5, which is that the wheel can actually be unbolted. The wheel is actually removable, and because of that, I was successfully able to replace the basic 325 with a larger 350mm wheel, which I use for drifting and rally. The larger wheel will reduce the perceived wheel torque because of the larger wheel is basically a larger lever. The C12 is more than strong enough to use it properly. So with that, not only do I get to enjoy C12 with the stock wheel, but I'm also able to switch over and try something new. Moving on, along with improved power, the C12 also has a much needed boost in features. You have 10 backlit clicky RGB buttons, 2 side-mounted 3-way stepped encoders, 2 front-mounted metal 3-way step dial encoders, 2 front-mounted 2-way stepped dial encoders, 2 mini joystick-style controllers with push and click, and 2 magnetic shift levers that have carbon paddles. The higher quality and all of the binding options are ready to accommodate as much complexity as you might need, including ABS, traction control, brake bias, engine map, boost map, and then you have leftover bindings for HUD, MFDs, tasking the pit crew, resetting VR, and maybe a look-back cam. There are no need for extra button boxes for most players, and it has a great looking carbon finish. On the face, you also have a dimmable 3-segment speed indicator that lights up in blue, and shift LED indicators across the top. You can set the color of the shifters quickly with 4 presets, and of course there's number 5 for off, but you can also individually set each segment to your taste. The same is true for all of the 10 backlit buttons, which also come with 5 preset options. and then you can individually control each. The presets are your standard green to yellow to red, and then you've got your light blues to purple. Eventually, I customized mine to have the pit limiter button as bright red, headlights were green, flashing high beams was set to blue, and push to talk was set to white for Discord. If you're more of a purist, you can have them all the same color, or you can just turn them off. But being able to change the colors really does help you track the important bindings, and it's actually a really great feature. The software stands out as effective, firmware updates are easy, and if you have other Cammus gear, all of it will show up here in one place. The C12 shows up as two parts, being the base and the wheel. In the software, you can set the steering angle, the base strength, the inertia, the friction. My basic settings for the C12 were unlike the C5, which was set to full strength. I was unable to keep the C12 at maximum for very long. The system at full strength is just simply too powerful for me, and my arms became jello after 2 laps of the Nürburgring. The C12 can keep up with others in the segment, feeling a little bit stronger than T818 and the Logi DD Pro, and it's about on par with the R12 from Moza. I feel confident recommending the C12 for use with up to a 350mm wheel. It's completely appropriate. Holding strength isn't the only factor, as any residual power becomes that instant snap or road texture that you need to sell the Immersion. This higher output will provide you with better early warning about what your car is doing. Most wheels, even the lower ones, can lighten up to let you know that you're oversteering, but when you clip a rumble strip, you really want that extra headroom of a stronger wheel. That snap in the wheel will let you know that your car is about to become unstable, or the extra texture that might make the difference in pushing the limit. I am on record saying that the tune given to the drive is as important as the quality of the parts. Cammus has a great feeling tune that interprets the basics very well, such as traction loss or road feel, but Cammus also does a very good job with the extra details that can telegraph to the user changes from dirt to tarmac in a rally stage, telegraphing to the user when the track is getting a light shower, when the track cools off at night, or when the tires are at their last laps. These are important extras, and in my opinion, they should never be considered as extras in the industry. You shouldn't settle. So I would like to summarize my experience and overall impressions. Great build quality with lots of backlit bindings for dark conditions, a strong, smooth motor with a great base programming, capable software, and a good bass tune. If you're gonna buy, why not buy direct from Cammus? My order traveled halfway around the world and was at my door in 4 days. The company often lists sales of 40 to 50% off, and then using the link and promo code that's in the description, you get a further 5% when ordering direct. This often turns out to be cheaper than buying from a local distributor. And that's it. I appreciate you taking the time to watch the review. I'm really impressed with the output and quality of such an unusual approach. The C12 should not be considered as a super budget or low entry wheel. It's capable, and I found it provided me a very pro driving experience. Stay tuned for the near future, because it's rumored that Cammus is going to offer the channel a C12 for a giveaway, and that will be its own separate video. So stay subscribed and you won't miss it. Drive safe.